Joy Guru. Today I would like to clarify, of course in my own way, some of the finer aspects of a Bengali story, namely Ghantar Dhoni. The English translation may be the sound of a bell or the sound of bell, you can say, written by an eminent writer of Bengali language, namely Shirshendu Mukhopadhyay. I reckon that this discussion may enrich the faculty of imagination, thinking and reality. Now, regarding this story, I would like to say that this story is very special in the sense that the attraction, the content, the curiosity of most of the stories that we know, all these end once the reading is completed. But this story starts after the reading is completed. In other words, you see, there is much to be pondered after reading. This is the speciality of this story. At least I reckon so. Now, I think this story is a story of a devotee and of a god. In this case, God is Chakravarti Moshai. You know, it is a colloquial language. It comes from the classical language Chakravarti Mahashai. And the devotee, the name of the devotee is Guntu. And Chakravarti Moshai is actually a worshipper of a local Ram temple. He did worship the Ram temple. And he also did arati, that is greeting the deity with lamp. You see, and but nowadays he does not do it. You see, he uses to sit upon a white bed sheet of a four-legged wooden cot. He is now completely a philosopher. People all around come to him for taking suggestions or taking solutions from of their endless problems. He actually a tobacco smoker from Hubble Bubble, and Guntu uses to beat the dish of bell. In Bengali it is called Kashi, to please, you can say, to please the deity. So in a way he is a devotee of Ram, but more specifically he is the devotee of Chakravarti Moshai, as because he is the immanent form of God, and that Ram, to at least Guntu, is the transcendental form of God. Anyway, but then, as I have already stated, that this story revolves with these two characters. Other characters are, in my opinion, are simply subsidiaries, though they have their own importance, definitely. The story has 9 parts. The first part describes the family of a widow, namely Kalidasi. She has a son, a squanderer son, I should say, and a grandson, that is Guntu, of her dead daughter, and she has a tenant also, namely Hem Ghosh and his wife. The first part discusses this, but the second part discusses about the you can say sad plight of a teacher, namely Kanai master. You see, he had 2 daughters and a son, and the son has been suffering from an incurable disease, possibly a kind of incurable rheumatic arthritis. The pain is so unbearable and long lasting that this particular pain, I should say, has transmitted to Kanai master and has made him prematurely old. Naturally, he cannot always control his temper. Now, the second part also discusses about one day's incident while Kanai master was delivering lesions in the 3rd class, that is the I think class 8 standard, Then there was a student, notorious student, namely Modon, who was the son of a rich businessman. He was not only a spoiled lad, but also was an eve teaser. So one day, on that particular day, a tiny girl, aged almost 10 years, has come directly to Kanai master with a piece of paper, and she indicated to a boy pointing his forefinger, of course, undoubtedly that Modon, and saying that this lad has written some vulgar words in this piece of paper. So please take necessary action. And Modon master, this Kanai master got severely angry, and he mercilessly beat Modon. Because of his merciless beating and hard hitting, one part of his head, that is one part of the head of Modon, got severely injured. And naturally, an awkward scene was created. Seeing this, ultimately the head teacher of the school has come, and he suggested Kanai master to flee from the spot, as it would invite a kind of undesirable situation. And Kanai master returned to his home, and then he was thinking very many aspects of this particular incident, and he was informed that this boy was admitted to the hospital, though the situation is not so serious, but then this incident may ultimately lead to criminal proceedings against him. Now, Kanai master was not so much disturbed, or not so much perturbed because of this particular criminal proceedings or like that, but he was more perturbed that because of his rude behavior, this may incur sin, and this sin may transmit to his ailing son. This is his concern. Kanai master generally never goes to temple, so naturally he does not believe in the existence of God. But today, or particularly on that day, he was seriously thinking to meet Chakravarti Mosai, because he knew that this Chakravarti Mosai had translated in the past, and during translate he spoke very many words which are of very special spiritual values. He knew that, and not only that this Chakravarti Mosai is a real gentleman, and he feels for others. He is ready to solve everybody's problem, and he has the knowledge, of all encompassing areas. Anyway, and third part of this story depicts the adultery of the wife of Hemghose, namely Reba. And Hemghose has the habit to doubt his wife, especially because she was pretty looking, and his prime suspect is the music teacher of his wife, namely Probhas. And but then Abhaypada, as I have already stated, the son of Kalidasi, the widow, though he was a squanderer, but he is squanderer definitely, but he is an idealistic person, and definitely he always follows a leader, namely Gyan Sarkar. He is his role model, and he does not like any culture which is contrary to the culture of this land, India. He rates India's culture as of highest order, and he does not like smoking habit of ladies. He, however, incidentally saw that wife of the Hemghose, that is Reba, was smoking cigarette on a particular night, and he intimated this news to Hemghose and cautioned him that this should not be done, because it's not actually complementary. This culture is not complementary to the culture of this land, India. And he cautioned him that a kind of westernization has already been in shape in this particular land. This is not a very fair signal. This is the statement of Abhaypada. Anyway, Now, the fourth part of this story is of supreme importance. I think so, because here some of the, you can say, some abstract things are being discussed. For example, he is telling about Guntu. Guntu, while he was beating the, you see, dish of bell, that you can say kanshi, then because of the sound vibration of that particular musical instrument, he himself becomes a sound. This is his realization, and he becomes a sound not only inside his body but outside his body. Not only that, he feels that the entire sky, the entire air, the entire you can say entire ambience around him. You see, entire ambience around him becomes the sound. It is his understanding, and he thinks that sound is the only thing. You see, but then on this particular fourth part also enumerates that Guntu for the first time has realized the manifestation of the sound in the form of a anthropogenic form, that is in the human form, in the form of Chakkotti Mosai. You see, once he was attacked by Hanuman, by Hanuman, and he ran away as fast as he could. But then, see, he could not. But then he found a pond in front of him. He jumped into the pond. But then in the pond, rather the situation was just to, you can say, just to come from a frying pan to fire. You see, within the pond there are, there are so many, so many herbs and shrubs, and not only that, water snakes are moving around him, and the pond is very deep. So naturally he cannot remain for a long time within the pond. So he was completely bewildered. But even amidst all these dangers, he could however recall the name of Chakkotti Mosai. The moment he recalled the name of Chakkotti Mosai, something strange had happened. A hand from the world of Netherland, that is world of, you can say, hell, came to, you can say, caught him and dragged him into the bottom of the pond, that is the deepest part of the pond. And then he saw that Chakkotti Mosai was there with his usual attire and with his usual position, and he was laughing. See, watching Chakkotti Mosai, even at this particular distress, Guntu, however, got absolutely delighted. He filled the tobacco of his hubble bubble. Then that Chakkotti Mosai puffed a little bit, and then he said something very special. Then he said that to become sound is very good. Everything, you, me, and everything, every existence, be it animate or inanimate, all are the manifestations of sound. Do you remember? See, these are all the not only this, the world, this world has created, this world is created, or you can say originated from a sound. So everything is sound. Please, you should remind me. I will give you a special sound one day. When you will get this sound, then you will find, then you will realize that this sound is, you see, is something so special that even the sound of the, you see, dish of bell, you see, cannot match. In other words, no sound is so sweet, no sound is so special with this particular sound. This is the fourth chapter. Not only that, in the fourth chapter also describes something more. You see, because it is the Chakkotti Mosai who instructed Guntu to count the number of leaves of a particular tree, and he said, then now try to surmise, try to, you see, you can say try to you can say try to surmise, try to know how many leaves are there in another plants. You see, in other words, he actually wanted to train Guntu that using the common sense, see, coupled with systemic imagination, you can do wonders. And not only that, he trained Guntu, see other things also. For example, one day he said that you try to recall the incidents of this particular, incidents of the incident of the day when you will sleep in the when you will sleep in night at night, then you should recall the events of the entire day. This will ultimately help him to recall the events of the past. And if you go on practicing this particular practice, then it is not unusual, or abnormal that you can even recall the events of the past lives. Not only one past life, but also more than one past lives. In other words, you may become Jatishwar. This is the statement of that Chakravarti Moshe. And then fourth part also describes something very special, because some of the people who were around, they used to ask Chakravarti Moshe, then see, nowadays why don't you go to temple to worship the deities? Then Chakravarti Moshe answered that, as Ramakrishna Dev has stated, that daughters play doll play till they are not married. Once they are married, they concentrate on households, abandoning doll play. These are some of the you can say statements of Chakravarti Moshe that are written in the fourth part. Now the fifth part or the other parts are just the continuation of the story in order to reach a logical conclusion. And the last part, that is the ninth part, you can say a kind of happy ending. But then in the fourth part, you see, there is another character also. There is the stepmother of Guntu. You see, she came to take Guntu to their home, because she seeing Guntu, a kind of spontaneous affection has grown in the mind of that particular stepmother. Guntu was not averse to this idea to go to his parents' home, but then you can say the back pull from the the pull from the back was his maternal maternal grandmother, that is namely Kalidasi. And not only that, his maternal uncle, that is Abhaypada, was also a source of inspiration, because he always assures this Guntu that he would make him a great leader like Gyan Sarkar. And Guntu loves to be a great leader. But then on that particular day, after the Arati was completed, Guntu was distributing Charanamritu. You see, water which was washed, which was used to wash the feet of the deity. He was distributing Charanamritu to so many hands, but he has the ability to identify whose hand is it. He understood that one of the hand was of the hand of the Kanai master. The other hand was of the hand of Hem Ghosh and Reba Ghosh and others. You see, so therefore, so this is the, you can say, and as I have already stated, that in the ninth part, or you can say the last part, the ultimate part of the story describes almost a kind of a solution of the entire problem that the persons, or you can say worldly person, namely Reba, Hem Ghosh, Kanai master and others that they are facing. Anyway, so this is more or less the content of the story in definitely nutshell. Now in conclusion, what I would like to say, that this story has some facets, has some aspects which need to be discussed in detail. Number one is sound. You see, everything is sound. Why? You see, this whole, it is stated in our Upanishad that the whole universe, you see, is created from a sound, you can say from a sound vibration. You see, we equate it with the sound of Om. Now, the holy name that Chakravarti Moshe was intending to give Guntu is similar, you can say synonymous with that particular sound. Now, if I may say that even the modern day scientist, namely Stephen Hawking, he has discovered the Big Bang theory. The essence of this theory is that that this universe is created from by a kind of big bang, that is a kind of, you see, high sound, you can say. So therefore, as a matter of fact, Chakravarti Mosai has the unique ability to blend, you see, science with the spiritualism, or you can say the vice versa. He has stated that sound is everything. We are just the manifestations of sound waves, nothing else. In other words, and this is precisely the reason why the entire universe is called, you can say, sound vibration, or you can say the manifestation of the whole universe is nothing, or you can say the manifestation of sound vibration is the universe that we see, that we are familiar with. And you see, so there, and not only that, this story describes that the best spiritual practice is the, you can say, the best austere ascetic practice is the practice of sound. In other words, the best way to connect with the God is by chanting a particular sound, that is the holy name that a Sadguru is destined to give to his devotees or to his disciples. This is by far the best way. And again, as I have already stated, that Chakravarti Mosai has blended science with the spiritualism, in the sense that he trained Guntu to count leaves of a tree, you see, and thereby try to increase your imagination, try to increase your faculty of thinking, and try to surmise, try to estimate how many leaves can be there in any tree. You see, and so therefore it is a kind of science. It is blended with spiritualism, in the sense that if you think in this way, then the faculties of thinking, your imagination and reality will definitely expand. And then he has stated about Jatishwar, that is, he trained Guntu that you should recall the events of the entire day at night. And not only that, then you will try to recall, to think about the events of yesterday, and then day before yesterday, and by this way you can ultimately recall the events of your past life. In other words, Chakravarti Mosai wants that every person should be Jatishwar. Jatishwar means a person who knows the events of his past life or past lives. Now, this is in a way, you see, a conquerment over death. We state that Gita is by far the most prominent, say, religious scriptures of the whole, or you can say of the whole world, because it speaks about immortality. Now, Chakravarti Mosai in this case has stated something very real, something very practical to achieve immortality. Because how can I, if I go on recalling the events of the day at night, and then if I go on stretching this practice to recall events of yesterday and day before yesterday, or like this, then my, you can say, the thinking faculty, the imaginative faculty of my brain would simply expand, and it is not entirely impossible to recall the events of the past lives. And if I can recall, so therefore I have a kind of consciousness, you can say memory carrying consciousness, and it's a fact also, because let's say I am 67 plus years old, I can recall some of the memories of my life till now, and I am carrying this. So therefore my consciousness, you can say, is a memory carrying consciousness. But this memory carrying consciousness is limited to this life only. But according to Chakravarti Mosai, it is possible to extend this memory carrying consciousness even to past lives. So in other words, this Chakravarti Mosai wants that we should acquire this memory carrying consciousness even after death. In other words, death penetrating memory carrying consciousness. And this is in a way a conquerment over death. In other words, this is what is known as achieving immortality. So this is also, and another, that the other worldly people, namely Hem Ghosh, Kanai Master, Reba, all these, or even Kalidasi or Abhay Pado, or everybody, you see, which are, or rather every characters, or for that matter the father of Guntu, who was a timid person and a bit henpecked too, but you see, has affection for his son nevertheless. Anyway, all these peoples are worldly people. They have certain, you said, they have certain limitations because of the obsession of complexes. We may not know, but the limitation is because of the obsession of complexes. As you all know that we have 6 complexes, desire, you see, anger, then greed, then illusion, and then pride, and then you see jealousy. We are somehow or another, we are obsessed with either one or more than one complexes, and because of the obsession of complexes we are disturbed. We have certain limitations, that and all these limitations can be overcome once we will adhere to, let's say, Chakkotti Moshai, who is the spiritual master of the highest order. And it is possible because in Bhagavad Gita also, that is, we can get rid of, you see, we can come out, we have the ability to come out from the birth and death cycle. You see, that we are undergoing within the birth and cycle is evident in the 27th sloka of the 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna is stating like this: Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad aparihare je orthe na tam sochitum arhasi. The statement of this sloka is that of the born, death is certain. Death is a certainty. But of the death, rebirth is also a certainty. This is something new. But then we have the ability to come out from this vicious cycle of birth and death. And Chakkotti Moshai here is giving a living demonstration as how to, you see, how to come out from the birth and death cycle. In other words, how to achieve immortality by you can see, by achieving death penetrating memory carrying consciousness, and this is not entirely impossible. So therefore he has blended science with spirituality or vice versa. So therefore, and as I've already stated, even the worldly people with all their limitations, they can also be perfect if they adhere to that supreme person, or you can say that religious leader of the highest order, like Chakkotti Moshai. So this is, we can say these are some of the aspects that I have tried to clarify. I don't know whether it will be of any good to anybody, but this is simply my humble submission. Now last but definitely not the least, it is not that my clarification is absolutely correct, not at all. It is for you to judge or ponder. So live in love. Joy Guru.